Welcome to the Hosel Rockets podcast, the #1 golf podcast for new product launches, interviews with industry experts, golf trends, and more. Here are your hosts, Jen, Ken, and Bill.
Hey, I'm Jen.
I'm Ken.
And I'm Bill.
And we want to welcome you to this week's The Hosel Rockets podcast. Catch us each week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and on Morton Golf Sales YouTube channel. This week, we have Woody Woodworth from Loudmouth. He's the founder in the house, and I know we're looking forward to seeing him in studio here in a few minutes.
It's going to be awesome getting some background on that.
Yeah, I'm excited. You guys excited? And if you guys can't tell, this is our Halloween episode. Yeah.
Why can't they tell? Or why
Well,
would they tell?
if you're just listening, you might not be able to tell. But and then we did bring croissants.
I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah,
right?
we needed
for our
them.
international viewers and listeners.
We have some extra people. Let's see, what countries do you guys know? We have France is still kind of our leading country. So woohoo! Shout out. We have Israel, Germany, Australia, United Kingdom. Lots of countries that have been tuning
Super
into us.
exciting.
So that is very exciting. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for giving us a listen. What should we talk about during this?
I could jump in, and I met with a new vendor that's kind of an old vendor in Lynx Golf.
Lynx Golf.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
That is a name I haven't heard
Yeah.
in... okay, I don't really want to say because that's going to date me.
decades probably. I mean,
Don't say decades.
Bill and I remember when Freddie Couples, was
Right.
wearing his Lynx hat playing in the Masters.
Masters.
And yeah, I mean,
How long ago was that? Are we talking 80s or 90s?
that was kind of its heyday.
Yeah.
Was in the 80s, and it went through a series of sales.
They're still in business?
They were out of business, but then, surprisingly, a company in Europe purchased them out of the UK. And for the last 7 years, Lynx has been operating really profitably and growing at a very fast pace over in Europe and the UK. And they had been talking about coming to the U.S. market for the last couple years, but as of June this last year, they finally made a home in Texas, and that's going to be their U.S. operations.
So what do they do?
So tons of cool brand names are coming back, like Predator and Black Cat and Parallax, and it's kind of positioned as kind of a value play. The irons will start in the $300 range and go up to maybe $500-$600 range. So it's kind of a mid price point.
Are they out now, or
They are out. They are out now, and then there's a whole bunch of new products coming in February. And what I thought was kind of cool, it's kind of positioned more for the weekend golfer with a lot of game improvement stuff. They do have a couple forgings and stuff, but I think the heart of the line is going to be for better players.
So is this sort of more of a big box retailer, or is it for the pro shops?
At first, it's going to be more the big box retailers in kind of that way, but with their evolution, I think they're going to be in more and more green grass stores. We're going to be their very first green grass facility that's going to be carrying the product in the springtime.
In the country?
In the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Are we going to have it on Morton Golf Sales?
we will be carrying the product. It'll be probably early in 2020. But this ball, actually, I thought was kind of interesting.
Okay, so for our listeners, this ball is what?
A Lynx golf ball, and then Bill is holding an AI golf ball, which is their junior golf ball. But it's 15% lighter than a regular ball. And I have a Titleist Pro V1 in my hand. I'll give you...
Is this the high fly? I mean, what's...
So it's designed for really folks that have a really low club head speed to be able to get the ball up in the air and have a really high trajectory.
That's fun. Noticeable difference. Obviously, viewers and listeners can't
Yeah.
tell, but trust
I
me,
don't know if I
it
can
is,
tell.
it is lighter.
And,
it
and by
is
having
a lot lighter.
It is a lot lighter. It's 15% lighter. And USGA, you can have a ball as light as you want, but in as big as you want. It just can't be under a certain size or weigh more than a certain amount. So their goal is for folks that have a 65 or 70 mile an hour club head speed or lower. This is going to be a ball that's going to be able to have them get much higher trajectory and hopefully carry the ball out a little farther when they just, when they're not getting a lot of club head speed on the ball. So I thought it's kind of fascinating.
So is it new to market, or has it been out?
No, it's new to market. It won't even be out till February 2020. So,
Do you know a price point?
they will run about $20 a dozen.
So is it is this okay? The one in my hand, it says AI. Is it the junior ball?
That's the junior golf ball.
And then the one that Bill has in his hand now says High Fly. Is that just the name of it?
That's the model name. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, kind of fascinating, I thought. So.
Very cool. It's Halloween. I feel like we should be telling Halloween stories.
We got a good one that we all lived.
We all lived it. Do we want to tell it?
Yeah, so...
You can tell the condensed version, I think. Probably. Yeah.
All right.
So 91, probably? 90,
why are all these stories so long ago? Why are you telling the year?
I don't know. That's about the year it happened.
I think it was the degrees outside.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll start and you guys can kind of weigh in. So my family that has a Italian division up the family tree called the Catamatteries, and they have a ranch house in a small community of Calaveritas, which if you look on a map you won't ever find it because it's population like 5 people, but it's outside of the town of San Andreas, which is kind of in the foothills of gold country in California. And this house was built in the 1870s, had a water tower that actually fed the house by gravity still, and when we all grew up, my grandmother, it had been passed down through the family, and my grandmother had inherited it from her Uncle Dave Catamateri. And the rumor has it when we all grew up that Uncle Dave haunted this house.
Okay, so the rumor was that there was buried gold on the property, and we wanted to go find the gold. And that when we would initially go up there, the basement, which was all dirt, someone had gotten there before us, and it was all dug up. Like, legitimately, it was all dug up. Yeah. And there was a gold mine on the property, and I think we still have some of the gold that had been taken out of the gold mine. I mean, this is like a legit...
Yeah, now when you say we have some of the gold, it's like...
It's
dust.
About that much.
Yeah, it's not like a great gold mine.
Right.
I mean, and this isn't the actual key, but I mean, to get into the house, there was an actual skeleton key that you used to open up the house. It was spectacular. And I've mentioned before that one of my little side gigs is I'm a ghost hunter. I have an actual ghost hunting paranormal thing that I do on the side. So I think that this was like my start of that like love and passion was going to this house all the time.
So we were on a double date. Bill was with his bride Angie now, and date back then. And we were going to go up and have dinner up at the ranch house and tell stories. So Bill had these old Time Life books that were awesome. That had all these scary stories in them, and so the goal was that we were gonna
Bill take over.
Yeah.
No, I mean Kenny's doing a great job. I'm just reliving all this.
Go for it. What happened, Bill?
It's probably important for us to relay how much Angie loves scary things at this point in time too.
Oh, how much? Not at all. Yeah. So, but no, the atmosphere, like Kenny's been saying, you couldn't create something in a scary movie any better than the house. Old and creaky, skeleton key to get into the front door.
Long, super tall, narrow hallway.
Right. Just scary rooms, and you could lose sight of each other if you went down one hall. The kitchen was over, I think, to the left, if I remember. Yeah. There was a back porch that you could go out and disappear that had a swinging door right at the gate that made the sounds. I mean, it was all set up like, wow, this place. If it isn't haunted, it should be, because it was pretty scary. Yeah. But we're all enjoying kind of the meal and just the fun until the sun went down, and then I don't know if it was mostly our imagination that took over. I mean, it certainly was part of it. But one of the things I remember the most was, and again, this is, I think we talked about decades before the crop of scary movies that we've had out in the last few years. But there was one room. Don't ask me why, that had a picture of a nun hanging on the wall. I mean,
the most austere, scariest nun.
120 years later from when the house was built, there's this nun picture. And when you moved in this room, her eyes were
followed
going
you
right along with you.
everywhere. It was the creepiest
It was
picture.
It was like the Haunted Mansion at
Yeah,
Disneyland.
pretty much.
Totally.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Only this was real. And it was like...
And why would anyone put that in picture?
Why would that picture be up there like
Why?
that? And better question, why were we in there looking at the picture? Why were we getting our wits scared out of us? But yes, that was one of the things I can still picture it very vividly right now.
I can
Yes.
absolutely see that
So
now.
this house had a big long hall from the front door all the way to the back door, and it literally was a straight line. So
And there was a bedroom on one side.
actually on both sides, and
I think there's like a dining room or something.
And then there was 3 naked light bulbs that were on the hallway that actually lit the hallway.
Cool
So when we
strings.
opened the skeleton door and went inside, I flipped the switch, and there's 3 lights that come on down the hall. And as we walk in underneath the first one, the light bulb flickers and it goes out. And we keep going down the hallway, and as we get farther along, a second light goes out over our head. And at this point, Angie's freaking out because she's heard all the family stories and all that kind of stuff. And so we finally get back to the back kind of living quarters where there's a big potbelly stove that heats the house back there, and we're starting to get out food, and Bill's breaking out his books and all that kind of stuff. And a third light, the only other light in the whole house, goes out, and it is black. I mean, black, you can't see your hand in front of your face, black. And we had brought 2 big floodlights and kind of shine them up towards the ceiling.
It was super cool, you guys. It was so scary fun.
Angie's wanting to go home about this time, and
I did too.
And there's a bat. I remember there's a bat that was.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Do you remember there's
Yeah.
a bat that was nesting?
within 5 minutes, both of the floodlights flicker and go out. And so now we've had 5 flashlights and or light bulbs go out, and we haven't been in the house 10 minutes tops. And Angie's done. She wants no part of this house anymore. We can't hardly even find our way back out of the house. So
What about the running around the side?
yeah, well, so Bill and Ange, we let them out the back door, and there was a porch that went all the way around the house. And Angie wants back in the car. I remember that vividly. And Bill, as a gentleman, goes with her. And then
Not because he's scared.
so we have to lock the back door and the front door. So Jen and I lock the back door and lock the outside door that went to the water tower. And then you hear footsteps, clear as day. I can't describe them. And so she
Run around to the other side because the door's locked. I can't get through.
Being the nut job she is, she runs around the other side trying to see what the footsteps are. And so literally the porch goes all the way around the house. Jennifer runs around to the other side and I'm following her. And there's nothing there. And the door we had literally just locked is now blowing in the wind again.
Swinging right by now.
And I have no explanation for it. And
unless there's a real person there.
Yeah. And then we locked the door and got in the car, and I think we ended up eating dinner in Jackson or something like that.
Well, I remember we couldn't, the gate wouldn't open.
Yeah, right.
Remember? In the front, there was like a picket fence around, and it was like a
Couldn't
scary
get out.
movie. We couldn't get out. We're trying to get in, and it won't open. We're trying to rush. So, yeah, that was...
So, the craziest part of the story even was that night. So, my grandma owned the house, and so I called her late that night and said, Grandma, I want to let you know that the next person up to the house, all of the lights are out, and they're, whomever is going to need to get a ladder and actually replace the light bulbs. And she said, well, call your cousin Steve. He's actually coming up there tomorrow.
They were like 10-foot ceilings.
They were super high. And so I do just as she asked. I call my cousin Steve, and he's like, no problem, I'll replace the lights. And I get a call late that next day from Steve and said, I went in, I flipped the light switch on, and all of the light bulbs were working.
Dun dun dun.
So that's our ghost story. I can't explain it. Kind of weird.
I know. I so wish we still had that house.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I know you guys went back, but Angie and I never went back. So, that was...
It was a really, really cool
Yeah.
house.
Uncle Dave clearly didn't want us there.
Loved that house.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. One other topic. William Murray.
Go for it.
Okay. We have a new clothing line that just arrived in our brick and mortar store of Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. I know, Bill, this has been created quite the buzz inside the store. So Bill Murray and his 5 brothers have started
and
a
it's not
new
necessary,
line.
and we're not like promoting it just for the store. I just thought it was a cool, just a really cool clothing line, and so I kind of wanted us to talk about it because no matter where you're listening to us from, I think it's fun for you to maybe go check out because it's really a neat line.
So
it's called William Murray Golf.
Yep. And they, so Bill Murray and his 5 brothers have started this new line.
And we don't sell it on our sponsor on our sponsor site either.
Yeah, might someday. But what's super cool is that every shirt ties back into one of Bill's movies. So like the one I'm holding has...
the one we're holding is purple and has groundhogs, clocks, flasks,
coffee cups,
golf balls, and putters.
And so it's totally surrounding Groundhog
Day.
Yeah.
Great movie. Just want to make it clear. I love Groundhog's Day.
But all the shirts have feature the Murray Scottish plaid and the collars, and on the tip of the collar is a little green that is supposed to be a hole of a green. And just super cool. I mean,
it's a flex fabric.
Yeah.
So when you're swinging the golf club, this fabric's really going to move with you. I'm like, hopefully I'm not stretching it out of shape, but I mean, I really love the designs on this.
Yeah.
It's really fashion forward in my opinion, but I think it's really a cool.
Yeah, I'm holding another one here that's for our radio listeners. There is navy with some flowers on it. This one's called Cinderella Story, and if you remember in Caddyshack with Bill Murray swinging his
playing Carl.
Playing Carl Spackler, the caddy, and killing all the flowers while ogling the dirty old lady.
These zinnias?
I
think they're zinnias.
But he was blasting the flowers into smithereens. So you've got a flower and then
one of our listeners
a flower into smithereen.
Yep, super cool. I know these just don't translate well for podcasts, but all these shirts are really cool. Check them out online somewhere, you guys. I think it would be really fun if to get it for a gift or just to ask for. William Murray Golf, definitely a fun topic to explore. To explore.
Fun logo too. It's like rubberized on the hat.
Yeah.
Billy, maybe you explain the logo of the company.
Yeah, it's
says iconic.
A silhouette of Bill Murray. It says William Murray, and it's like Jennifer's saying, it's iconic. Him tossing the golf club. The club is separated from his hand. There's a club right next to him, but you can just completely picture him tossing his club up in the air like that.
He's done that so many times at the AT&T where his caddy's trying to catch it out of the air.
Yep.
So super fun line. I'm loving it. It's I think kind of my favorite line this second.
It's created a big buzz in the store for sure.
Yeah. So it's new for us, but it's not new out on the marketplace. So I think you should go check it out. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about, or should we dive right in?
I think we get our guests.
All right. We are going to have to take a little break. We're going to have to do our commercial early because we're going to have to rearrange the set a little bit. I'm excited. We have Woody Woodworth, the founder of Loudmouth Golf, joining us today. And we're going to have to pause for a commercial break because we're going to have to rearrange the set.
Well, and I have to excuse myself just for a moment, being one of my favorite times of year, and the other guest we had sitting behind Kenny there, my friend and I need to go do some of my world famous scare pranks on a couple of the team members here, so I'll be out for just a moment.
Okay,
awesome.
You're going to join us back though for Jackburgeroni, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Hey, Bill here. I wanted to pause real quick to thank our sponsor, MortonGolfSales.com. Morton Golf Sales is the #1 online retailer for all your golfing needs. From the newest clubs on the market to the classics that you can't find anywhere else, Morton Golf Sales has the best products and customer service at the lowest possible prices. Want to check out their huge online inventory of clubs, clothing, golf balls, accessories, and save 12% on your first order? Just use coupon code ROCKETS at checkout on MortonGolfSales.com. Exclusions apply. See site for details. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back. Today we're so pleased to introduce Scott Woody Woodworth, the founder of Loudmouth Golf, who created what I think most of us would agree is the most recognizable or loudest golf clothing line on the market today. The brand was first launched in 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
And has grown internationally from the U.S. to Canada, Asia, Europe, and Australia, correct?
And Japan.
And Japan. There you have it. Joining Woody today is Big Wave Dave Maneri, our local rep, and also a personal friend. So
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Well, thank you.
Before we get to start just diving in with asking questions, I have to mention that your brand has to lend itself to super fans. And I'm going to mention that because we have one of your super fans who works at our store, Ed, who owns 144 pair. We were just mentioning it before this
We
started.
just ran into him before we came in
I
here.
know, not 143, not 145, but 144 pair of your Loudmouth shorts and pants and etc. I mean, he is a super fan, super collector, and I would have to say that you are a brand that must lend itself to that.
Oh, yeah. And that makes me just super happy. You know, when I started it almost 20 years ago, I was the first super fan of anything loud I could get a hold of. And when guys started coming up to me saying, "Where did you get those?" And I got the idea, I said, maybe I should make these for other guys like me. And there's guys like me out there. It's just fun. I mean, I got the most comments at my gym one day where I came in with a black pair of shorts and a gray t-shirt. That's when most people talk to me and they said, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" So once you do it and you enjoy it, you really have to keep doing it.
Are you rivaling Ed in your collection of loudmouth shorts and pants?
I'm up there.
Yeah.
I'm over 100. There's definitely over 100, but I have some jackets too.
Yeah, there you go.
I have some pullovers. I have, shoes, the whole kit and caboodle. It's just a lot of fun, and there's so many fanatics out there. When you're walking around, people will stop you on the street and take photographs with you, or take photographs when you're not looking. My kids will go, "Hey, they just took photographs."
Yeah,
of
that
you."
happens a lot.
It's like, don't worry about it. We're having a good time.
And I think that's I think a big deal. I mean, it's fun. I mean, you can't wear the clothing and not be in a good mood. I think is a really fun aspect of it. And I think it's also a brand that when it's on, you're like, oh, that's Loudmouth. Which there's not a lot of companies where you're like, what brand is that? I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Loudmouth is definitely known for fun, bold, and colorful prints on the golf course. What was the inspiration for starting the company?
I used to watch golf back in the early 70s, and that's the way those guys dressed.
That's true.
This is not a new idea. I have some pictures of Johnny Miller and Tom Weiskopf that are just really outrageous. Totally outrageous. But it wasn't outrageous back then. I thought growing up in the 70s was great. You should have seen me in college. I had lapels out to here, you know what I mean? So when I started playing golf more after my graphic design business was established in the 90s, that's when golf was really about money. All these people were starting to make, Arnie never made a lot of money.
Right.
And those guys didn't, but they started to make some big money in the 90s. And boy, the attire was corporate too,
right,
on the course, and I thought, that's not the way I remember golf being played. And so I just had to make some pants on my own to be like those guys, like, I don't know, Jackie Gleason and Bob Hope at Pebble Beach a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
Jack Lemmon, that was more fun. And
we kind of went from Defini to Dockers.
Yeah.
And if you look in the old 70s and 60s, Defini had those. They made those wild pants.
Even Louis Pulitzer.
Yeah, right there you go. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's I just.
And then everybody was in khakis all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I
And
had
I brought it back.
Sands that were yellow.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s.
Yeah. And one of the things was I had to find some white belts. You had to have white belts with these kind of pants,
Yep.
and there wasn't any white belts. I actually found some importer in L.A. that the only white belts they had were female white belts. And I said, well, can you put more of a manly buckle on that? He said, sure. Are you sure? And I said, yeah, I need some white belts. And I couldn't keep those things in stock.
Wow.
So
Wow.
back in the early 2000s, there weren't any white belts out there, and I sort of brought back the white belt too.
Yeah.
And you look now. I mean, everybody has a white belt in their line. I mean, it's
Yeah, no doubt.
so. I mean, you obviously had a hand in changing the way golf fashion is today.
A small hand.
I would say so. John Daly might be the athlete that most people quickly associate with your attire, but what other athletes can be seen supporting the Loudmouth brand?
Well, I think the other most infamous athlete or sport that we had a big influence in was curling.
The Norwegian.
Yeah.
Curling.
Yeah.
Boy, what a story that was. Curling, I think, had been played for maybe, 1,500 years in black pants. 1,500 years of black pants. That's 15 centuries. And all of a sudden, these crazy Norwegian curling team shows up in loudmouth pants. They didn't even know if they were going to be allowed to play in them. They had to go up to the rules committee, like 2 or 3 days before the competition.
Wow.
To point out that there was nothing in the rule book that said that you had to wear black pants. It was just, understood, one of the unwritten rules. But since it was unwritten, they had to let them play.
Not like Wimbledon with the white attire. It was,
yes, right.
Gave him some freedom.
Remember, Andre Agassi skipped Wimbledon this first year because he wasn't allowed to wear his fancy clothes. Yeah. So, but they did wear the fancy clothes, and boy, that was like just a cyclone of activity. It was crazy.
Yeah, glommed onto that.
And we ended up being in the Summer Olympics too with the U.S. Beach volleyball team.
Dahlhammer and
what
was the other guy's name?
Gosh, I'm just drawing a blank because I'm on TV.
That's right. So certainly that had to have just kind of created an influx of interest worldwide in the company when all that, that's worldwide coverage clearly.
Right. I was at a show in the MRK show in Las Vegas, the apparel show, and we were on that morning. We were on the Today Show for like 8 minutes.
Wow.
And 8 minutes on a morning talk show on TV is great. And I was watching. I just couldn't believe it. I was still in the room, and then so I got dressed and I went down to go to our booth, and you're walking down a big hallway, right? And there's booths all the way, and everyone came out to the front of their booth, and as I was walking down, they were all going, "Hey, good job! Wow, I can't believe it!" And it was like I was a movie star for just 15 minutes, right?
There's your 15 minutes of fame right there.
Right.
That's
so,
super cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now, over the years, you've partnered with Major League Baseball, the NFL Dallas Cowboys, NCAA college teams, Hello Kitty. I'm sure there's been more. Are there any licenses that you would like to work with in the future?
We're actually getting the licenses that I want to work for in the future, but I can't say anything about it right now because the ink is not dry. But yes, we've got some other sports coming out, and I've been doing some designs. Just these last 2 weeks, I've been turning their logos into designs, and that's going to be exciting too. I think it'll do well in Canada. That's all I'll say.
All right.
Perfect. I'm not going to say it, but I'm like, man, you've got to get Marvel. All I can see is Iron Man. I'm like, I'm just like.
That's not a bad idea.
So cool.
the very first pair of pants that I ever made was Looney Tunes.
I know.
And I still have those Bugs Bunny pants. And that could be another one. But we did do SpongeBob.
Yes.
And I just ran into one of your customers out in the store that says she can't wait to wear a SpongeBob skirt because there's going to be a tournament coming up.
We had a tournament with
a
very well-known sushi maker locally who wore. They were matching. I think they won.
Our big first tee junior senior tournament. Yeah. So he and his daughter both had the SpongeBob, and then had found some SpongeBob hats that had literally SpongeBob sitting on top of the hat.
It was very cool.
Sushi, fish.
Yeah, there you go.
Believe it or not, back in 2000, one of my first pairs of pants was sushi on the pants. Might have to
that would
bring
be
those
awesome.
back.
Yeah.
I'd probably ask, so as you get a license, are you solely responsible for the design on it, and then you go back and present that for approval, or are they involved on the front end?
No, that's how it works.
Okay.
They give you their assets, and I look through it all, hundreds of pages of it, and decide, that would look cool, and I take them and I just put them together.
Do you still do all of the design yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
All the design myself.
That's awesome.
But another area is we do custom work, so anybody can come and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
If I do have my own logo, but I could do my own Big Wave Dave pants. We could do the Morton Golf pants, whatever we want.
Yeah, low minimums too.
So cool.
Yeah,
That's
super
fantastic.
cool.
Yeah,
that's fun.
We actually outfitted the whole sales force of a Japanese home electronics firm. That doesn't get very much press out here, but I designed the shirts for the sales staff, even different design for the service staff that goes out and repairs HVAC. And it's the jackets, the paint. It's really cool. I'm waiting
that's a great idea.
Yeah, waiting for Southwest or FedEx to give us a call.
You did waste management recently.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we're outfitting
so the big
waste
Arizona
management
tournament. I mean, that's crazy on the 16th
I know
hole.
that would be so.
Well,
cool.
as you're trying to find, make your staff recognizable in different environments, there's probably nothing you can do that would do that more than
I
having
think it would
them.
be a great marketing thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the first airline that does it will have it. JetBlue should call me. Southwest should call me. It's like, wow, look at those
hearts.
Stewardesses. Oh, I can't say stewardesses anymore.
Flight attendants.
Flight attendants, dressed so well. I mean, it would just make everybody happy.
It would, yeah.
And who doesn't need to be happy on a flight? It's not the best place to be, right?
This time of year, or this time of when you first introduced your products on the market, how were they received? Because I know it was completely different from.
Yeah, I mean, people were skeptical. Just people would find me. I actually had, the only way people could find me was I had a 10-word, I know it was 10 words because you paid by the word, because it was a classified ad in the back of Golf Digest. And fortunately for me, it was in the apparel section, and I was the only person in the apparel section, and apparel starts with A, so when you open the classified page after you were going through all the articles about how to improve your swing, there it was. The first ad was apparel, outrageous pants, and whenever I made a sale on the website or the phone rang, I knew it was from that ad. But then, I got my business partner. We started to get sales reps, and we started selling to stores. That was the most difficult part. I mean, if you were a store buyer and you saw this stuff for the first time when everything else on the floor was khaki or slate gray, like you're wearing right now,
exactly.
Boring gray.
I mean, there weren't even white pants back then, okay? Not even white. Now, half the field is wearing white pants. But that was the hardest sell. No buyer was going to, put those on the floor and then get called into the owner's office and say, what were you thinking about? So that's when, as soon as, that was for about a year and a half. But then John Daly showed up. And then they couldn't keep appointments because they had so many appointments. Because he really made it legitimate. It's like, it is okay to wear these things. I'm John Daly. I wore them. I showed up on the Yahoo homepage when I, showed up in the raspberry sherbet, first Argyle pants for men ever, orange and pink, of course, and that's really when it took off, when it started showing up in stores.
Let's talk about John Daly for a moment. How long has I have a couple questions. How long has your partnership been with John Daly?
About 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, Jennifer, is that he received the phone call at the expo back in 2008 that John Daly was going to sign.
That's the Hagen Oaks Golf Expo. That's our golf expo.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Think about that. That's pretty good.
The reason that we did that was I used to make the pants here in America, which sounds great, made in the USA, but really they were terrible pants. And I appreciate all those super fans back then that bought them regardless. It was just light cotton, because I couldn't even print my own fabric back then because the minimums were so high. You can't just call up someplace and overseas and say, hey, I want 100 yards of this printed.
Yeah.
They'll don't even know what you're talking about. So we got the business partner, started making real pants made overseas. That's where they know how to make them, apparel for sure. And I had to get rid of all this old inventory that I had from the USA made, and now we're making this jump to we're going to be in stores, and the website's a lot bigger. So I came to Hagen Oaks with all this light cotton pants from the original Loudmouth, just my own little website, and we were selling them. And
we sold a lot of pants.
Mm-hmm. I sold a lot of pants out of that 10 by 10 booth.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call from my partner later in the afternoon on Saturday, and he says, John Daly said yes.
Oh.
And I knew that was big news.
Did you recognize it at the time, though, how massive it would be a change?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. You just don't know how much of an impact something like that will make because you haven't experienced it before.
Yeah.
So we had sold through, I don't know, maybe half the stuff, but after we found out about that, I started telling some of the people around. They couldn't believe it. Like, they knew. Like, I talked to someone maybe from Adidas. I mean, because they know what it means to have a real spokesman like that. And I went to our booth neighbors and I said, you can have all these and just keep the money, whatever you want to do with it. We didn't come back on Sunday because I thought, you know, I could stand to make like, I don't know, $425 for the rest of that stuff, and I'd have to stay there for 10
more hours.
Yeah, 10 more hours and put it all back in the car and bring it back home and then not know what to do with it. So that all happened right here, like back in 2008, I think it was.
That's amazing.
That's a cool
so
story.
Hagen Oaks has a big part in Loudmouth history.
Yeah.
How much does John weigh in on colors and styles that he'd like to see? And
he's very involved. He loves it. He's very meticulous about the way he dresses when he goes out to a tournament. I mean, his shoes always match his pants. His socks always match his shoes. His shirt always matches. I just showed up at Silverado a couple weeks ago when he played at the Safeway Open. I was hanging out in the guest house that he was in, and he's got 8 pairs of sunglasses, all different colors, to make sure that they match with his outfit. So, he's out there. He says, "Hey, Woody, hey brother, how's it going?" I'm thinking red. Red's going to be really good for for 2020. So he's like a closet apparel designer. JD is.
That's
He's
cool.
funny. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And actually, it probably should be mentioned that John has a Sacramento connection too. John was actually born in Carmichael, and was only here for a few years before his family moved to Arkansas, I believe.
I didn't even know that.
So
wow.
yeah. So he was actually raised right here, maybe about 10 minutes away. So
No kidding.
yeah.
And when he and his son play in that father-son event, they're dressed
They're
identical, and it's just great. And
His son
lots
is
of
good.
airtime.
His son can play.
Does he have the same long swing that John has?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got taught by his dad. Man, he can play.
I know it's expanded now well past pants. You have a number of different licenses in other categories, right?
Mm-hmm. Shoes, head covers, golf bags. Like 6 years ago, it was even wine and pet products and towels, linens. So that's. I even said in an interview, I was down in the city at the Presidio. I did an interview for Kron, Channel 4, and I just had these a few cotton pairs of pants, and the interviewer asked me, when will you know that you're like, where do you see this going? And I said to her, when I'm in Home Depot in the paint department next to Ralph Lauren Polo paint, Loudmouth paint, then I'll know it's kind of close to that, and I said that, I don't know, maybe 15.
That would come out of the can
16
super
years
cool as you're rolling it on a
Yeah.
wall. I don't know how that would work, but that would be awesome.
Yeah, right. So
But I could see that. I mean, just super bright
well, so
colors.
it's
I mean,
close,
that's-
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about Atonic and the partnership there.
Oh, I don't know if Dave, if you have the same problem, but we've got all these pants, and I'm afraid even if you go into the shoe department, the men's shoe department at Hagen Oaks, you're only going to see white and black and brown. I mean, that's really pretty much it. Even almost 20 years ago, I thought men needed colorful shoes, blue suede shoes, whatever. But it's difficult to find shoes that match your pants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think every Loudmouth super fan probably just owns a white pair of shoes and a black pair of shoes, and they hope that that goes with it. But
Right.
finally, we found a partner to make some colorful shoes, and I've got a pair right here. we
Let's
see
bring
it?
them out.
Yeah.
I think we need to see these.
I mean, look at this. There are no golf shoes
Wow.
like this.
For
All
those
right.
listening, this is a orange tigered golf shoe with some cool black trim around the back heel cup.
Made by Atonic, but branded with Loudmouth.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's
a
a
partnership.
Yes, it's Stable Loud. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. I like that name.
I got a chance to see these at the NGBA show 2 weeks ago in
Oh.
Dallas, and there's a USA version that's super cool, red, white, and blue. With it's awesome as well.
How many colorways?
Right now there's 4.
Nice.
4. We've got just black and white zebra stripes, and I think those can go with anything. It's kind of odd to wear loud pants of any color and then put some black and white zebra stripes on it. It actually looks good. But we've also got the orange here and red, and we've got sort of white and glittery silver, which also will go with more pants. But I haven't thought that people that do wear khaki or slate gray like you're wearing, and people are afraid to wear loud pants because for some reason loud pants is scary. But I thought even a more shy golfer could get away with some colorful shoes.
Yeah, I remember we used to have a brand of shoes called Shaw shoes way back in the day, and they had I think
they were black and white.
Yeah,
and
they had flames on them.
Yeah, flames.
That was I would wear them. Just again, I'm fairly conservative, obviously, clearly in my
if you
my
can't
own
tell
dress.
by how he's dressed today, and if you're just listening, he's literally in
gray,
black and gray. So
and the couch is gray, so you're
matches
just
the facial hair.
blending right in.
Exactly.
Blending.
Yes.
Versus our guests, which are much more colorfully.
Like Marissa Tomei would say,
the Shaw shoes, that's something.
something.
That's something I would jump in and do because it's a drop, it's a taste. I'm not
taste.
sure I could pull that off personally.
Splash.
But yes, yeah.
But that also brings up the point of our shirts, in that when we do our fancy shirts, we call it Loudmouth upside down, because instead of having the wildness down below, you've got it up on top.
Right.
So again, those same people that aren't going to dive in with both feet can get a taste of our shirts that are fancy, that have patterns on them. So that's another product that we've done well with.
No, let's just talk about that. So you have, because when I think of Loudmouth, probably because of Ed and his 144 pair of Loudmouth shorts that I see him in, every day. Do you have the shirts, and then do you have more of the solid shorts to go the opposite direction?
Not solid shorts,
but we
We
did
did a while ago,
about 3 or 4 years ago, and they sold pretty well. And we're thinking about coming out with some more solids now too.
Okay, we had some white, some lime, some yellow.
But in the polo shirts, colors in every color
kind
to
of
match
just to match all of the bottoms. Which that's a great idea.
Yeah.
But then we have patterns also, like we have our flag pattern, we have our skull grotto pattern, that we have, that again, that people can wear with solid bottoms.
Yeah.
What is your website name if people want to order direct?
Loudmouthgolf.com.
Loudmouth.
Yeah.
But come to Hagenose.
Yeah.
And buy the stuff there.
I should mention too that we're talking about guys' pants and all that kind of stuff. In our store, we sell almost as much women's loudmouth as we do men's loudmouth. The skort phenomenon has been big business for you guys, right?
A little funny story. After Larry Jackson, who was a former customer of mine, bought into the company and we became partners. This was about around 2006, 2007. Almost right away, we argued about doing stuff for women, because it was just strictly for men. And I didn't want to do it. Larry says, absolutely you have to do it. But at the time, this was like the tipping point where I'm asking guys to dress up like this, which is quite a big ask, right? And I thought, if that guy who decided to buy some pink pants with polka dots on it, and he shows up to a golf course to play, fearing ridicule, right? Also saw a woman dressed up in the same pattern, that would be like, well, I'm never going to wear that again. That's women's wear. I was fearful of that. But it turns out, after JD showed up and there was more acceptance, like, yeah, sure, we're all going to have fun.
They're all kindred spirits at that point.
Men and ladies, And at the time, I also thought that, women could buy loud stuff anywhere. But there is something a little bit more edgy or a little louder about loudmouth skirts instead of maybe some.
Well, and for those playing in team events or
I was going to say, my wife and I, we
you guys
do
are good
it.
examples.
But also men doing Ryder Cup events. They can do the patriotic flag on one side and dress the pro can go, I want the other team to look as wild as possible and get something way out there.
Yeah.
Or, ladies team play. We do a number of those where the ladies, they all travel around to different courses and they have to have their uniforms. And so Loudmouth really makes it distinct. Yeah. Same with high school teams.
And I don't know if it's still in the line, but I know a couple years ago when I was at the PGA show, I didn't go last year, I really liked the ladies' Giants that you had.
We still have it.
The San Francisco Giants. I was like, that is super cool. I thought that was a really cool outfit that you guys had.
So I was wrong,
Yeah.
Larry will tell me point that out every once in a while.
Once.
So you remember
Once
back
or
in
twice.
2008?
Yeah.
But
That's
the ladies
probably
where
an
you were
instance
wrong.
where you were really glad you were wrong.
Yeah. The one time.
Happy little accidents, as Bob Ross
I'm
used
a
to
husband
say,
too, so I'm wrong a lot.
Wouldn't know about
Not
that.
touching that one.
Yeah.
Are these shoes out now?
Yes.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
just start shipping.
And the one that you saw at the NGBA?
I don't know. I think they were talking about next closer to July, but I don't know that for sure. So
Okay.
It takes a long time to make shoes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Are there any designs that you want to bring back? That were
Yeah.
probably a lot of them, huh?
Well, right. I mean, a lot of people that, at least to our website, 60% of the people that come to our website are new. Google Analytics tells us that. And they've never seen Captain Thunderbolt, or they've never seen Shagadelic Black. And so I think I was doing the math last night. I think probably since 2007 we've done about over 500 designs. I mean,
Wow.
that's a
Yeah.
lot
Oh
of
my
designs.
God.
Crazy.
So
Crazy good.
That's
Yeah,
a testament
I'm-
to your creativity.
That's
Yeah.
my first thought.
It doesn't seem like I'm lazy considering that, but
Not at all.
It came from the 60s.
Yeah. You can tell that. You can tell your wife that when she suggests it. So, yeah.
and I'm not, but I'm also pragmatic. I'm thinking, boy, that's a lot of designs that maybe 60% of the people that come to the website have never seen before.
Yeah.
Although Ed has seen them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He's been slacking. There's like 350 he doesn't have. That's
I
all
know.
Yeah, well, yeah. Actually, right.
You'll have to remind them.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so we're bringing back some greatest hits
great.
along with some new stuff for next year for
Well,
sure.
Next year, we're doing it a little bit differently also, is that we can book any of the patterns for delivery whenever you want it. So you can pick Captain Thunderbolt for March, or you can pick Captain Thunderbolt for October.
Yeah.
So we have some repeat patterns coming out. We have a lot of new fabulous ones, but you can have delivery whenever you want it.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
That's
Just
very
have to
cool.
book it 90 days in advance, but we can do it for you.
Yeah.
And my last question, which you may have already answered, which was, what does the future hold for Loudmouth? And I think, paint right down, Home Depot's alley, there it is, the penultimate.
Well, I think, we, of course, started in golf, and we're still firmly grounded in golf, but anyone who's worn these to play golf in, but then, ended up going to a restaurant afterwards, or a party, or a ball game, or whatever, it's more fun being out there just in public with the pants.
Yeah.
And a lot of us will put a sport coat on, right?
I've got
Because we're
another
going
one.
out to eat, or we're going to a party, and a Christmas party for sure. And that's when the fun really begins. So I think this is a lifestyle brand that started in golf, and I think that's the key, is to tell people that, hey, you don't have to golf to have this much fun in these designs. It's I mean, you go to a party or a ball game. I just watched when the Houston Astros beat the Yankees in Game 5. They were painting the crowd, and some fans had a big MVP sign up for Bregman, and they're wearing a Houston Astros loudmouth suits, sport coat, pants. I mean, it looked fantastic, and I'm looking at the TV going, no, that's loudmouth. So it had nothing to do with golf at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the future is for us, is to go beyond golf.
Jennifer, you mentioned the Giants patterns. Well, Lucille, the mascot, has a loudmouth outfit,
That's
which
awesome.
it wears every so often. It's fun to
Yeah.
see. At my local gas station, they don't know my name, but I'm Mr. Fancy Pants. That's how they know me. Hey, here's Mr. Fancy Pants.
You will be forever now with us too.
Yes.
By the way.
I'm okay with that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming in and joining us today, Woody.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
Love you guys. You know
we
that.
love you too.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with our Jackburgeroni experience.
Mom's beef hash has a first name. It's from a can we see.
But we all have another name. We call it untasty.
We hate to eat it every day.
And if you ask us why, we'll say, 'cause Mama's hash tastes like trash and we should feed it to the dog. Welcome to the Jackburgeroni experience.
All right.
Well, I'm back.
Yep.
I made my rounds.
You left, huh?
Yes.
Well.
What, you didn't notice? Thanks. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, the staff noticed because we had a little fun time with a couple of good little scares.
Are you going to tell us?
Nah.
I hear you scared a bunch of those chocolate donuts off the table.
Yeah, I know. I came back and looks like you guys have been busy. I thought you were doing an interview, not having lunch back over here. No, it's good. I see some things missing for sure, and I have yet to have one, but maybe that'll change before.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Over.
Who would be in your perfect foursome? We're going to talk foursome. Godly. We're going to talk foursomes today.
You mean golf?
Yes.
Okay.
Who would be your perfect foursome?
Our dream foursome.
Our dream foursome.
All right.
Hey, we haven't even talked about my threesome yet.
Who would be in your dream foursome? You're
are
one
we
of those
talking-
people.
So let's
Just
clarify.
regular dream foursome.
Do they have to be alive?
No, living or dead.
Living or dead? And are we talking like celebrities or like
Just
family?
I'm going to ask all sorts of, maybe a few different ways, but let's just start with living or dead. Who's your ultimate foursome?
To play a round of golf. And
Yes.
where would you want to play it, Kenny?
I don't care.
All right.
And please feel free to answer on your own. Leave a comment and we'll report those later too. All right, let's start. Go.
So I'd probably have like two different answers because you kind of have like a family answer and then kind of a.
Oh my gosh,
Celebrity
you're already
answer.
thinking too much. I have versions later on, so just go.
All right. So
Probably,
so family wise, it's probably my dad. It's probably Bill. I've had more fun playing golf with him than anyone on the planet probably. And probably my pal Chris Roberts, who is a musician in Nashville. He could bring the whole music element and tie golf and music together for me and me. So that'd be my four probably.
Okay, great. Bill.
She doesn't care what my answer is.
No, I don't think so. Well, first of all, so is he gets two foursomes or that's his one?
That's his first answer.
I know,
and
but
then
Clearly,
have a
I
few-
barely got the three that I spit out. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll start first the other way and just about all-time golf greats
Okay.
that would be a dream from someone that you idolize and
You can't
Follow.
say Jack Nicklaus 3 times.
I'm not going to say that, but so myself, my longtime golf idol, Jack Nicklaus. I love to follow Phil Mickelson. I have all these years. So, and then I think I could say my fourth is probably going to be Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you,
So two great from the past, and then the current great, and then myself.
awesome. Do you guys care who I want to play with?
Sure.
You don't play golf.
I know I don't play golf, so it's not like these are more people who I kind of want to hang out with.
So she's really going to have 4 names because then she wouldn't have to play.
Right.
She'd drive the cart.
All
I
right,
didn't
let's
think
hear it.
about that, but I should have. So I said my dad because I don't get to hang out with him nearly as much. Oprah because she'd be fun,
Okay.
and Mr. Rogers because he's dead, but you could do living or dead.
Mr. Rogers.
I think Mr. Rogers would be really, really, really cool.
Is it the kind of sweater?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Is there a
my-
golf course in this neighborhood?
Yeah.
So wait, that's 3.
And
Oh well, Kenny said you were going to actually do 4.
I know because
okay.
that was rude.
So okay, so are we going to get? I mean,
I
that's
have a
not
couple-
fair. You two are doing sentimental and family choices, and here I just
It
picked.
Because I don't
and weird.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
What?
know, but
And weird.
These aren't weird. These are just what we want. Okay, next, because I'm like this. I didn't think this was going to take very long, so I made a couple of different versions of this.
Okay.
Okay, Who would be in your perfect foursome? This is for you too, audience. One athlete, one singer, one actor. Boom. So, since I made this up, I'll go first because I thought about this. One athlete, I thought, and once again, I don't really play, so I'm doing it for people who I thought would be fun. I put Chichi Rodriguez. Is he still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Athlete.
Poor Chi-Chi.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Man.
One singer, Garth Brooks. I thought he'd be fun. And one actor, Bill Murray. So, boom. There you go. And you guys have to vote and tell us which of our answers on these are, like, the winner. So, basically, I think I win. But, and you guys haven't gone yet. But, Ken, who's yours? One athlete, one singer, one actor.
Well, Billy mentioned his golf idols. Mine was Payne Stewart. When I was a kid, I wore +4 Snickers in all of the junior golf events I would, because I thought he was the greatest ever. So
It was always great stopping at a fast food place after a tournament, and Kenny and I walking into the fast food place when he's wearing bright yellow knickers.
Yes.
We didn't get looks at all. No.
Okay, and I will just say that I started dating him when he would wear knickers, and I was so not into golf at that point in time at all, and thought he looked like the biggest dork on the face of the planet.
True love prevailed, however.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because that was quite the look.
It's an appropriate topic as we're talking about loudmouth pants, I think. So,
yeah, that was quite
You were way ahead
the
of your
look.
time, Kenny.
Yeah.
And so Payne, clearly Johnny Cash. He's my all-time hero.
Okay.
And actor, I'd probably say Steve Martin for some comedic element to the foursome.
All right, I'll give you that. That's a decent group.
That's an eclectic foursome right there. But
All right, Bill, you're up.
Um,
Athlete, singer, actor.
Athlete, my football idol, John Elway, who's
All
also
right.
a great golfer, by the way.
Terrible GM.
Recent Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl
Yeah.
50. I think he knows what he's doing. Just currently they're struggling a little bit.
A little bit.
Actor, kind of going the comedy route with Kenny. Of course, Jennifer did too with Bill Murray, but John Candy was one of my heroes.
Oh, there you go.
Unfortunately, he's not around.
Yeah.
He also was a
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
yep, a good player.
Those aren't two pillows.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's classic. And then singer, I don't know any singers. Who do I listen to? Give me a singer.
Julie Andrews.
Yeah, there you go. Julie Andrews.
That is
Why
who
would
you
I
listen to.
like Julie Andrews?
Because you have the weirdest teenage girl taste of music that ever lived.
What teenage girls listen to Julie Andrews?
I love musicals. Back in the old days, they used to.
Yeah.
I love musicals. What can I say? So I'll just defer and go to Kenny. So I know I'm going to get all the votes for this one, right?
No.
John Elway, Julie Andrews, and John Candy.
All right,
That is
we
the
need
weirdest
to put up a
person.
poll.
Okay.
Can you imagine driving up to a golf course and the four of them going off the first tee? You're like, huh, that's kind of weird.
All right. I love Julie Andrews, but I'm replacing her with Rodney Dangerfield. That's my
As a singer?
addition.
No, as the actor.
No, as the
Or
singer.
a singer.
As a
A singer, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
what's
right.
the difference?
Singer?
It's okay. I can do
What?
whatever I want. It's my group.
All right.
Yeah.
What did he ever sing?
Nothing.
Hey,
you're
I
being
get no respect. That's what he's saying. That was pretty good.
disqualified. Okay, last one. One author, one historical figure, one person of your choice. Boom, I'll go first. Author, John Sanford. Prey series. Benjamin Franklin. I think he'd be super interesting. And then Robin Williams.
So, I'm sorry. What are the three again? Author, historical figure, and who?
Person of your choice.
Oh, just a person.
I'll let it be.
Not a comedian.
Just whoever you want.
That's. I don't know why you get to go first. Those are the same three that I was going to choose. I mean,
I'll go first just because I'm kind of springing
'Cause
this on you guys.
you're the host.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the host, but I'm springing it on you.
well, you are, and that's not fair. You've been thinking about this for days. And you're just getting right off
I've
the
been
cuff,
thinking
so-
about it for minutes.
Okay.
Okay, who's ready? Well, we should
right.
make Bill. Are you ready, Ken?
I think I can go. So
Okay.
Stuart Woods, he's my favorite
Yeah.
fiction author ever. Everything that he's ever written.
I don't want to downplay your author, but not as good as John Sanford. But
All right, whatever.
go ahead.
But a better general manager than John Elway. So, and then historical figure, I'd probably do Franklin Roosevelt or Abraham Lincoln. Somebody.
That's two. You got it. Come on.
All right, Franklin Roosevelt, and then.
That's not historical enough.
No, you don't think so?
Really, we're going to judge on that?
Fine.
All right.
We're going to judge based on who you chose as a singer.
I don't know. Could Jesus be your third? He could actually just clear the water and not have it hit through the water
there you go.
Get it in. That'd be pretty good. Yeah. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That was your third?
That's legit your third?
Yeah. Again, the weirdest foursome that ever went out and played golf.
Okay, that's more weird than mine.
Yeah.
So,
right, go for
author would be Stephen King. I mean, we are doing our Halloween episode.
Okay.
Some great
I think
books.
you're trying to pad the votes, but whatever.
It's okay. Historical figure. Geez, should I go back to the Revolutionary War like Jennifer just did? Or how about Abraham Lincoln?
Okay.
Right? And someone of my choice?
Yeah.
Just my choice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can't be someone you already chose, though.
Can't be someone I already chose.
This is where you drop Angie and get some
wife
points. Yeah.
No. You can play with her whenever you want. Wait.
That's not what she meant.
Okay, yeah, since we're talking about that, I'll choose Ken Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go there either.
Now that is
I'm sharing the cart with Abe.
okay.
All right.
Alrighty. And on that note, we want to know your guys' favorite foursome. Who would you guys want to play with? I don't know how to say this without it sounding weird, no matter how I try. But leave your comments. We want to hear them.
We know you can all come up with some better groups than the three of us just did.
Yeah.
I'm very confident.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We actually have some bonus content for you guys this week. If you go to our YouTube channel, Morton Golf Sales, or it might be easier for you to find us if you go to, we have a website now, hoselrocketspodcast.com, where you will find that we have put together a very special Halloween episode where our very own Spirit Snoopers investigated the tailor-made ghost putter.
Ghost putter.
There is a special appearance, I believe, by both Ken Morton Jr. Actually, I think that's an anonymous appearance by you. But Bill, I think you made an appearance on there where we see you.
Yeah.
I was haunted.
You were haunted.
Yeah.
You're all about to be haunted if you watch this.
Yeah, exactly. It's scary in all the wrong reasons.
So I hope you'll check us out there, ruining our set. And with that, we want to thank you for listening to this week's Hosel Rockets with Jen,
Ken,
and Bill.
If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at hoselrocketspodcast.com or leave us a review on Apple. Join us next week when we have the folks from Sun Mountain here in studio with us. Thanks again. We'll see you then.
Bye.
We're at Hagen Oaks Golf Complex in Sacramento, California, investigating recent sightings. Let's go talk to the owners. Kid Morton Jr., I know you've asked to remain anonymous, so we're going to go ahead and blur your face in the editing.
Thank you very much.
Well, why don't you tell us what's been bothering you?
Well, you see, my wife and my kids, they don't respect me.
Whoa, I'm talking about the golf course here.
Okay, that makes more sense. Actually, there's a lot been going on that's been scaring our employees, our customers, and especially me.
What kind of activity?
You know, there was a couple possessions. We've been hearing some disembodied golf shots, some golf balls appearing on their own, and actually even a couple putter sightings.
Putter sightings? What kind of putter? Do you know?
We believe it was a tailor-made ghost putter.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Feel free to maybe investigate this for your guys' self.
We're here with an employee at Hagen Oaks, and he's going to share with us his experience.
Yeah, well, I was saying I went into the style bar to turn the lights out because we were getting ready to close, and I opened the door to the dressing room, and that's when I saw it. The tailor-made ghost putter.
Don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of this. A common way to test for putter hauntings is the ball test, so we went ahead and gave it a go. Let's watch that again. after last night's ball incident, I came back in and I did some EVP work by myself. So I thought we should go through those recordings. Ooh, I'm gonna go back and replay that one.
There's no escape.
Did you hear a golf shot?
We return later to the style bar to continue the investigation. Follow me, let's go. I'm not seeing anything in this one. Nothing in here, it looks like. Did you hear that? Oh, that's weird. There's nothing. Again? My light just went out.
I think I just saw a golf ball. I just saw a golf ball.
What is that?
What is that?
Oh my god, it's
Oh my god. It's the putter. The golf ball's gone. I don't see it anywhere.
We need more evidence.
Pretty sure I got it, but okay.
Do you see it?
Why did I agree to this? This is not worth $5 an hour.
We have to face it. You go first.
Did you see it? It's right there.
Let's watch that again. Okay, I'm gonna open the door. You run. I'll try to distract it, okay?
Alright, okay. Alright. Okay, alright. Okay, ready? What?
It's farther away.
It's very far away. Okay.
God damn it.
He's so sweaty.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. Where did it go?
So, overall the investigation went, it went pretty well. I kept my cool the whole time. We saw some stuff, but nothing we weren't prepared for. Overall, I'd say it was kind of inconclusive. I know I can't confirm that there was a tailor-made ghost putter there.
Oh my God.